Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. It's me Gamerturk, and today I will be reviewing yet another very polarizing Sonic game. The main adventure of Sonic in 2017, Eggman has already taken over the world and Sonic and his friends fight against him as part of a small resistance. Some people absolutely love the game, some people absolutely hate the game. Meanwhile, most reviewers have absolutely no idea what the hell they're talking about and are just being hypocrites, which I will make another video about with actual proof, but now I talk about Sonic Forces. A quick heads up for those unfamiliar with my format. In my ultimate reviews, I give you the information you need and will make it very clear if something is my own opinion or not, so you can stay as clear as you can from your opinion being shaped by mine, and instead can form your own opinion whether the game is for you or not based on the actual information rather than my personal enjoyment out of it. I will start with the story, so without getting into spoiler territory first, let me tell you this. The writing and story is still cringy, but it is at a level of cringe that fits the series perfectly. There is enough seriousness there that will keep you engaged, but enough cringe that made sure you have a chill time throughout the story. It is not a Sonic 06, nor it is a Sonic Lost World, which is a great thing considering those two games have went to the extremes of the serious to cringe spectrum. This one stays somewhere in the middle in a well done balance. There are certain stupid decisions made by the villains once or twice, but I am not sure where some reviewers are jumping to the conclusion that the story is riddled with plot holes. Don't worry, that is not the case. Don't worry, you do not need to read the Sonic Forces prequel comics as well to know what is happening. They are kind of extended universe material, giving you some lore, some of the things that happened, but are already very limited due to their 7-page limit. But if I say more, it would be spoilers, and if you don't want any spoilers, please do skip to the time mentioned on the screen, where I will continue with gameplay and various other elements of Sonic Forces. This has been your spoiler warning. Do skip it if you don't want it. Sonic Forces begins right before Eggman's invasion starts. Tails calls for help from Sonic, so we rush through Green Hill to encounter Eggman along with Chaos, Zavok, Shadow and Metal Sonic, followed by the mysterious villain who calls himself Infinite. With the surprise of Infinite's powers and with the 4 other villains helping him tag team, Sonic suffers quite a heavy defeat and is apparently captured by Eggman. We have a huge 6-month time skip here where Eggman captured 99% of the world and Knuckles leading the group called the Resistance, featuring a faceless army and other characters like Espio, Charmy, Vector, Amy and Silver. This is where our custom character joins the story as a new recruit. Due to unforeseen circumstances, or plot convenience if you'd like to call it, the army and other characters are quite busy most of the time, and we are usually the last resort for important operations. I honestly don't have a problem with this, and if you're fine with Bowser kidnapping Peach every single time and Mushroom Kingdom requiring the help of Mario instead of, you know, having a self-sufficient military army to protect their ruler, I don't believe you'll have a problem with this either, unlike some reviewers that do find this to be a plot hole in a Sonic game, but gloss over when it's actually a Mario game. And oh, I will be mentioning the double standards quite a lot in this review, by the way. I am not defending Forces here, I'm telling you as it is a plot convenience by all means, but I am also against the double standards applying to Sonic ever since after Sonic 06, so I will be making sure to point them out to raise awareness as much as I can with the 10k subbase I have. I'll give it to Sonic Team though. Sometimes it is explained in a better fashion with remarks like, seems like you picked the best route and reached there before anybody else from the Commander Knuckles. While it is still a plot convenience, it is a much more reasonable explanation, especially considering that our custom character proves himself to be an overachiever many times throughout the game. We head over and save Sonic while classic Sonic from Mania appears around where Tails was, which is where the tides of the war turns around. With 2 Sonics and Bob, Resistance starts gaining ground, and that is essentially the story. Stop Eggman, plain and simple. I'm not gonna talk about the villains specifically, I mean, we got nothing special here. Infinite is the mysterious edgy guy powered by the Phantom Ruby, the crystal from Sonic Mania. I hate the fact that sometimes they just do stupid stuff, like Zavok letting Sonic loose just to fight him, which leads to Sonic escaping, and Infinite letting him live because he is definitely inferior, but hey. I watched Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, where surprisingly little amount of people die in the first half for taking place in a death game because everybody constantly retreats without killing their opponent. I mean, it's an extremely stupid decision, but it's something I can gloss over myself. I'm honestly baffled by the fact that Chaos doesn't even have a single boss fight. What happened to your Sonic team? He only shows up in the initial cutscene and when Classic Sonic appears, and nowhere else. Did they just forget they added Chaos to the game? I'm really curious as to what happened with Chaos. But there are things in between I want to mention, and I will mention them here without diving into spoilers because I set the spoiler time till here, since I believe these things are things everyone would want to know about. I'm really glad that Eggman is no longer this inefficient clown that constantly fails, and after the likes of Colors and Lost World, this deserves praise because I don't want to see Eggman constantly failing. It's not like Adventures where he is constantly one step ahead, only to lose because his creation betrays him in the extra story. Sure, he gets defeated here and there, but he has backup plans to ensure his plan can keep moving forward despite his plan A has been foiled. And this actually reflects to Sonic as well. You probably remember the lines like, "Oh, I beat you every time" from Generations, while Sonic is constantly smiling, obviously not taking things seriously. While he has similar lines here in Forces, they are much better written. Instead of being, "Oh, don't worry, we beat him every time," undermining the seriousness of the situation. It's things like, "We have beaten him every time until now, we can beat him again, we just haven't figured out how to do that," maintaining the unbeatable atmosphere, but also maintaining the hope that the resistance is built upon. Essentially, it may be hopeless, but we will find a way, instead of, "Oh, he loses every single time anyways." It means the same thing down the line, but the perception of it is miles apart and keeps the game more engaging. More good news! Sonic's friends are no longer useless, they are actually doing things. Collecting intelligence around the world, actually taking part in battle in cutscenes. While they don't accomplish much in terms of resisting as a part of the resistance, it's still better than what was there in Generations. I didn't need the resistance becoming cheerleaders, and I'm glad they weren't cheerleaders. Meanwhile, Knuckles is no longer the bumbling idiot he was in Generations and Lost World, being the commander of the resistance. Sure, he is hot-headed, nothing has changed on that aspect, thus not every single plan of his is well thought out, but that's why he has people like the Chaotix, Amy and Tails among the ranks to double check and to consult for ideas while he himself makes the final call after everyone chimes in. Tails is no longer the obnoxious kid with serious mood swings, though he felt a little too Sonic obsessed. I thought we were past Sonic Adventure 1 already, but what I can say is anything is an improvement over Pontek and Graph Tails, so I'm happy with that. I defended the voice cast ever since they came on, and yep, they are proving it time and time again that the lackluster VA performance in their initial games, such as Colors or even Generations and Lost World, was nothing more than a misdirection. They all sound perfect for their characters, except for Charmy. He was fine in Generations. I have no idea why his sound is cracking here so much. I also appreciate the fact that the story actually comes with a core message. Of course, when you are born into classics back in the 90s and are now over 20 years old, you may say, "Ugh, why do I have to go through the friendship is good message again?" And if you say that, I say you're a freaking jerk. Sonic is a game for everyone. When we were kids, most of us were impacted by various messages. For me, Tails' journey stuck to my mind. Believe in yourself was a highlight for me when I first played Sonic Adventure at 7 years old. For some, it was Gamma's search for truth. For some, it was Sonic's hunger for justice and adventure. For some, it was Amy's mission to prove herself to Sonic in her very little way by taking care of a defenseless bird. Sure, when I look back, yes, most stories trying to convey an obvious message is usually cheesy. But that's how an adult sees things, because the messages are obvious to an adult. But for a 7-year-old kid, no, he's still figuring out the basic stuff in life. And I have no problem a Sonic game trying to convey these obvious messages to them, knowing how certain stories from my childhood shaped me to who I am today. Well done, Sonic Team, I admire your will to convey such a message, despite knowing your now 20-plus-year-old core fanbase will rip you apart for it. Your messages impacted me when I was at the right age to take those messages in, and I'm glad you are willing to spread those messages to the generation after us. But that's all I can say on this aspect, so it's time for the real turmoil, the gameplay, and thus the stage design that's been getting so much flack. I'm pretty sure the best way of describing Sonic Forces is by saying Forces is the Sonic Adventure 2 of Boost formula. It is a refinement of its predecessor, a significant refinement to say the least, and while that has its positives, it also has its negatives. When moving from Sonic Adventure 1 to Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Team went through the same refinement process for their stage design. The 6 stage designers that were back in Sonic Adventure 1 were replaced with only 2 level designers in Sonic Adventure 2. With this streamlining process, sure, Sonic Adventure 2 was essentially filled with corridors instead of stages that actually felt open. But that also allowed Sonic Team to be more efficient or save on costs. Same thing happened with the transition from Generations to Forces, with a significant cut of level designers, bringing the number of level design crew down to 3. And once again, while that hasn't caused a huge linearity issue like it did back in Sonic Adventure 2, the corridor approach was forced upon us once more. I can easily call bullshit that the stage design is linear in Forces. It most certainly is not any more linear than your average Sonic game. Aside from avatar levels, both classic stages and modern stages offers tons of multiple paths to take advantage of, so once again, linearity here is not the problem of Sonic Forces. It's the perception it fails to create with the shortage of men to trick you into thinking the stages are open. No matter which Sonic game you look, even Sonic Adventure, your journey is linear. You have set corridors you can take advantage of. The main point is, the corridors in Adventure 1 never felt like actual corridors because the graphics design and level design worked together quite perfectly to ensure you are tricked into thinking the stages were actually open. Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Forces today make the same mistakes, and that is not hiding their corridors and leaving them out in the open for everyone to see, not just the people who pay utmost attention to the level design. Though that didn't prevent people from loving Sonic Adventure 2, and I am baffled that people are actually having a significant issue with this here today in 2017. Again, I'm not here to defend Sonic Forces' failure at hiding their corridors, the fault is there. But I'm not going to watch people rip this good game a new one by being hypocrites, loving Sonic Adventure 2 that has the same corridor level design, while completely hating on Sonic Forces because it has the corridor level design. So keep this one in mind as well. Stage design, yes, overall a step down from Generations, but it doesn't lack anything from the critically acclaimed Sonic Colors. Corridors, automation, more limited gameplay, and a high level of 2D usage can easily be seen in Sonic Forces. I normally don't make a huge deal out of level design, I keep it short, but due to the sheer amount of hate Forces is getting on this aspect, I thought this was necessary. But what about gameplay, as in how your characters control? Well, let me tell you. There is something weird with the momentum of all 3 characters. Not that it is bad or anything, it just doesn't feel natural compared to classics, adventures, or other Boost games. It honestly feels like Colors and Lost World had a baby and it is named Forces. The run button shenanigans from Lost World has been gotten rid of, but the feeling it has is still there. It feels like the character you are using, whether it's classic, modern, or avatar, has a speed barrier to break when jogging, and once you break that barrier, you get a significant acceleration into the next tier, which is full running speed. Though this causes you to make silly mistakes because the acceleration is way too sudden for you to take care of. I also am not exactly sure, but the game at certain points feels like it doesn't have a 360-degree control scheme. I mentioned this in my demo opinions as well, but it certainly feels like I have 8 directions despite using the analog stick. Up, down, left, right, and their diagonals. I can't make a small adjustment to my line, because if I flick the analog stick even the tiniest bit, my character still makes a 45-degree turn no matter what. Once you get used to these gripes, however, which is, you know, what we used to do before people decided to gang up on the internet to shit talk about games, the game becomes much more enjoyable. Quickly you learn that this game is not about micromanaging your line, but rather just playing the damn game. Though, if we're talking about controls, it's not that they're bad, they are just inferior to Generations. So here I have to draw comparisons no matter how much I want to avoid it. Quickstep is adjusted terribly. Since the game has narrow corridors, you usually have to quickstep about 2 meters at most. The entire stages, ring streak locations, red rings are all designed you to quickstep 2 meters to the side. The problem is, however, quickstep itself is designed to take you more than 2 meters to the side. I'll be honest with you, this is a pretty big and pretty stupid oversight, and I'm not exactly sure how such a thing might even get through Q&A testing. I had to use manual steering to collect red rings during the Metal Sonic fight, because quickstep was essentially useless. I shouldn't even mention red rings there. The gaps you are given through Metal's attacks require a different length than your quickstep distance. I can adjust to a different control scheme, but I can't adjust if it's the mechanics provided to me are actively working against me. Meanwhile, I am not exactly sure why the streamlining process I mentioned earlier caused the drift and air dash to become casualties, but that probably has something to do with Forces being a baby of Colors and Lost World. It honestly feels like Sonic Forces has been built upon Lost World rather than being built upon an actual boost game. How Sonic handles is very reminiscent of how he handled back in Lost World rather than how he handled in Generations. You didn't have the air dash back in Lost World, you don't have the air dash here in Forces. You didn't have the drift back in Lost World, you don't have the drift here in Forces. But yeah, Classic, aside from the momentum speed barrier issue I talked about, handles better than how he did in Generations. You can actually roll down hills and it will be better than just running. There is even the spinny platforms towards the end that work just like they have worked back in the classics, though I am 100% confident Sonic Team made them work through artificial means and not through momentum. But hey, they work, and as long as they work, I don't care if it's artificial or through natural momentum. The bottom point is, they work. And I'm sure speedrunners will once again appreciate the drop dash, keeping their momentum on landing a jump. Avatar has actually been a big surprise for me. As I mentioned multiple times in my Road to Forces series, I had very little faith in Avatar, but I'm honestly hooked. I still preferred modern Sonic in terms of gameplay, mainly because Avatar is essentially modern Sonic, without boost, but with wisp powers. That's essentially it, but still, the characters are charming enough despite having a blank personality. I already created my second character, not because I need it for the platinum trophy I'm aiming for, but because I wanted a female character aside from Bob, who will then be able to take good advantage of the rewards you've been provided that would fit a female character better. Right now, both my characters, Bob and Lily, are looking quite cool in my opinion, and I'm sure I will find suitable equipments for the other characters I will create in the future. And I'm sure you will have no trouble finding clothes to dress your characters in the way you want to. The base customization options are a bit lacking, but overall, especially when you get to dress your character in hundreds of different ways, I don't care if the Hedgehog only has 3 different spike customization options. Whether you want to look silly, scary, cool or cute, Sonic Team made sure you will have enough options to achieve that. Well, since I already stopped talking about gameplay a while ago, let's move even more forward. The story is short, yeah, it's about 3 hours if you're a Sonic professional, possibly around 2 hours if you're a decent speedrunner, and maybe 4 to 5 hours if you have a hard time dealing with speed and make mistakes often. And I can't believe reviewers are slamming this game because it takes 3 hours to beat. Let me ask you, how long did Colors take to beat? Less than 3 hours. Nobody complained. How long did Generations take? About 2 hours and 30 minutes. Nobody decided to repeat a new one. Lost World? 3 hours, give or take. Mania? 3 hours with Chaos Emeralds and the extra ending. Why are people complaining about Sonic Forces having a 3-hour-long main campaign? Because they just want to complain and nothing more. Again, I'm not here to defend Forces. In my opinion, the only game that should have a 3-hour campaign here is Mania by design, and it is a negative point in my opinion that all of these, Generations, Lost World, Colors and Forces, to have a story shorter than 5 hours. But as the great IDUB said on a completely irrelevant topic,
it's either all okay or none of it's okay.
Otherwise, the person who says Sonic Forces is bad because its story is short, while saying Colors was great because it had a short story, is just being an absolute hypocrite. Well, we are at it. Let me address the boo, Sonic Forces has very short stages. I can remember the same people shitting on Unleashed because Jungle Joyride Daytime took 7 minutes to complete, and the same people were praising Sonic Colors because it had 30 seconds to 1 minute burst fun stages. Let's drop the bullshit, shall we? Sonic Forces has around 1 to 3 minute long stages, and I believe that is the perfect length for a Sonic game. People should stop reviewing the game after playing the Green Hill tutorial and just claim the game has very short stages without playing the rest. And they should also stop being hypocrites because the same people have praised Sonic Colors for having short stages. I can also come here and talk about why Green Hill and Chemical Plant reappearing is not a problem, but I'm not going to. I already did that on my Road to Sonic Forces episodes, which you can watch by clicking the card on the upper right corner, so I'm gonna skip that in this video. Okay, now you're gonna say, the game is 3 hours long. Well, what about the post-game? Any optional acts or anything similar? Well, yeah, there are some. First off, if you like getting assigned specific missions to cross off your checklist, you're in for a delight. The game offers tons of missions for you to complete, special time challenges, which was necessary considering S rank is once again quite forgiving, special instructions while playing through certain stages, and achieving certain ranks with various custom characters. You also get daily quests that give you an XP modifier for a short while for you to rank up your custom character. There are sudden quests called SOS missions that pop up from time to time on various stages. Nothing too special, it essentially makes you replay the same stage. Collecting red rings unlocks certain challenge acts that you can complete in increasing difficulties. But the biggest replay value is a good integration of online leaderboards. Maybe they should have just made it register your time online by default instead of you having to opt in for your time to be uploaded, but it is still well implemented. When you click a stage, leaderboards are right there in your face. You can see your best time and your rank. You can go into details and see who has achieved what time for that stage, and then you can try over and over till you're satisfied with your position in the world rankings. There were leaderboards in Generations, but if I remember correctly, they were broken as hell. At least nobody has a 1-second finish on Green Hill Zone in Forces just yet. Now let me tell you this as well, there is no life system in the game, which is a good thing, unlike what some people are trying to make you believe. We had life system in early 90s because there were no save files. Ever since save files were introduced, lives lost their relevance and became an annoyance. Whenever I get a game over in a game, I think, why are you wasting my time with this screen? Because I know after the game over screen fades away, the little loading icon will pop up on the lower right corner, load my last save file, which is probably at the entrance of the stage I just died at, and I'll just go back in as if nothing happened. In the end, I had to sit through a game over screen, loading screen for the save file, loading screen for the hub world if there is one, and another loading screen for the stage. Instead, Forces never makes you suffer through this stupid loop if you die, because there is no life system. You just appear back alive in 2 seconds after a death, no matter how many times you screw up. When I play a game, I want to play the damn game, and I appreciate Forces knows that, and it instantly spawns me back in the stage without having me suffer through 3 or 4 loading screens before I can get back to the place I was at. Though I don't appreciate the centering your character on a corridor thingy going on in the early stages. As I said, when I play a game, I want to play the damn game, and I'm sad to see Sonic Team did not have faith in me to keep Sonic on track, I mean, sure, put the line assist there for those who play normal mode, but when I specifically picked hard mode and I told you I know how to play a Sonic game, you can disable that line assist. Thank you. I can stay on course myself. Trust me. I'd rather die because of a mistake I made rather than survive because the game is holding my hand. Luckily, 1 or 2 modern Sonic stages later, this hand-holding completely disappears, but still, I'm not a fan of it when I pick the hard difficulty. Since I'm heading towards nitpicks out there, I'll just talk about the music as well and wrap up the review. Tomoya Otani and Jun Senue have once again worked their magic and came up with yet another amazing soundtrack. Classic stages offer a pseudo-retro soundtrack feel to it. I'm not a fan of it personally, but they do exactly what they're designed to do. Give it a classic feel with a modern track. Avatar stages offer vocal tracks that have weak vocals that don't interfere with the stage and the dialogues that is going on, and are usually my personal favorite tracks in the game. Modern sometimes also has a similar feel to the classics due to the instruments being used, but I still find the faster tempo more exciting than the classic tracks. But hey, these are just my opinions. You've been listening to the various tracks already in this review. You can just listen to them and enjoy or not enjoy them. Music is an incredibly personal thing. And last but not least, while the graphics are not as realistic or as detailed as Generations, they don't aim to be. Still, they all look absolutely gorgeous, and this is more of an artistic choice. Sonic Team wanted this game to look more stylized instead of photorealistic environments, and I believe it fits the game perfectly well. But yeah, that has been my Sonic Forces Ultimate review. It is essentially a more limited experience than, say, a game like Generations, but the price tag is appropriately limited as well, coming at $40 instead of the full AAA game price of $60. It is still a damn good and damn fun game if you want to hear my opinion about it, especially for the price tag it's being offered at. Sure, once I get my Platinum Trophy, whenever I need my boost fix, I'll go back to Unleashed. But then again, I got Generations and Colors and I still go back to Unleashed for my boost fix, the same way I go to Sonic Adventure 1 for my adventure needs instead of Sonic Adventure 2, and to Mania or CD when I wanna play Classic instead of the Trilogy. That doesn't mean those are bad games, that just means I prefer one over the other, while all those other games I mentioned are still good games in my opinion. Sadly, at the time of this recording, Sega was still investigating issues about Episode Shadow DLC for those playing on PlayStation 4 with the physical edition in Europe, so again, sadly I can't say anything about it in this review. As I said, I don't give out any scores to the games I review. Your enjoyment will depend on your personal preferences, so I aim to give you as much information as I can so you can decide whether Forces is something you think you'll enjoy or not. If you appreciated it, please do hit that like button and share. If you have any questions about things I didn't cover in this video, feel free to ask them here in the comments, on facebook.com/Gamerturk or on Twitter at Gamerturk95. You can also directly support my channel through patreon.com/Gamerturk if you really enjoy what I do here. Huge shout out to Mario Tainaka, the person who ripped the music files from the PC version of the game, the music you have been hearing during this review. They are downloadable as well, so make sure to check his YouTube and Twitter account down in the description for more information about it. I'll see you guys next week with my actual response to the bullshit reviews, with actual proof that they're either hypocrites or just spouting bullshit. And before I say goodbye to you, one more last fist bump. God damn it, that's cheesy as fuck.